Ethan Cole was a man of precision. The CEO of one of the country's largest tech corporations, he lived by his calendar, by logic, by numbers. Emotions were distractions, and most people, were replaceable in his world. He had been on blind dates before, dozens, arranged by friends, colleagues, even his sister. But tonight was supposed to be the last. One last dinner before he gave up on love for good. He was tired of forced smiles and polite small talk. The restaurant was warm, dimly lit, the kind of place where the soft piano music made silence comfortable. Ethan sat at the table, checking his watch for the third time. 7:58 p.m. He'd decided already, 5 minutes. If she didn't impress him by then, he'd politely excuse himself and go back to the solitude he preferred. Then she walked in. Clara Reynolds. 28, slightly late, and apologizing before she even reached the table. Her hair was loose and a little messy from the wind, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "I'm so sorry," she said, catching her breath. "My cab driver got lost and then I spilled coffee on myself trying to fix my lipstick." "So, hi. I'm Clara." Ethan blinked. She wasn't what he'd expected. No designer dress, no air of calculated charm. Just an ordinary woman with warm eyes and a kind of unpolished beauty that felt real. He extended his hand stiffly. "Ethan. It's fine." She smiled awkwardly, trying to make light of the tension. "You don't do this often, huh?" "I do," he said, flatly. "Too often." She laughed, a soft, melodic laugh that carried no judgment, only amusement. "That explains the look on your face. You're a pro at being disappointed." For a moment, his lips twitched almost a smile, but he quickly composed himself. He wasn't here to get attached. Clara started talking, fast, nervous, about everything from the terrible traffic to her job as an art teacher. She admitted she didn't earn much, but she loved it because, as she said, kids still believe in color, you know? Adults forget that. Ethan barely listened. He was counting minutes in his head. 1, 2, 3. But then something unexpected happened. Clara told a story about one of her students, a shy boy who refused to draw until she gave him a crayon and said, "Don't worry if it's not perfect. Just make it yours." She mimicked the boy's reaction, her eyes lighting up, her laughter spilling out so naturally that even the waiter smiled from across the room. Ethan looked at her and something inside him softened. Her laughter didn't just fill the air, it filled the spaces in him he didn't know were empty. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about time or deadlines. He was just there. Listening. Watching. Feeling. He stayed past 5 minutes. Then 30. Then 2 hours. When dessert came, she said something he didn't expect. "You don't talk much, do you?" "I talk when I have something to say." She tilted her head. "Then say something real. No business talk, no CEO stuff. Just, you." He hesitated. No one ever asked him that. No one cared about the man behind the title. But her gaze was patient, curious, not demanding, just waiting. "I used to paint," he said quietly. "Before all this." Her eyes widened. "You? That's amazing. What happened?" "I stopped." "Why?" He met her gaze. "Because someone told me dreams don't pay bills." She smiled sadly. "They don't. But they pay the soul." For the rest of the night, they spoke about everything, about art, loss, laughter, childhood. About things people forget to talk about when life becomes a checklist. When they finally walked out of the restaurant, the night air was cold, the streets quiet. Clara shivered, and without thinking, Ethan offered her his coat. She looked surprised. "You're actually nice," she teased. He chuckled softly. "Don't tell anyone." As they said goodbye, she turned back once more. "So, did I pass your 5-minute test?" He smiled for real this time. "You broke it." The next morning, Ethan woke up thinking about her laughter. It followed him into meetings, through phone calls, even while signing documents. It annoyed him at first. How could a woman he barely knew occupy his mind like this? He told himself it was curiosity. Nothing more. But that evening, he found himself at the small art gallery she mentioned, pretending it was coincidence. Clara was there, wearing paint-stained jeans, helping kids hang their messy, colorful paintings. She didn't notice him at first. Watching her, Ethan felt something shift. She wasn't chasing money or titles. She was building little worlds of color for others. That night, he helped her clean up. He rolled up his sleeves, got paint on his expensive shirt, and laughed, a deep, unguarded laugh that startled even him. Clara grinned. You should do that more often. What? Smile like you mean it. For the first time in years, he didn't feel tired. Days turned into weeks. Their blind date became dinners, their dinners became long walks, and soon, Ethan's sterile apartment was filled with sketches and laughter. Clara painted while he worked beside her. She didn't try to change him, she just reminded him that he was still human. But not everything was simple. His board of directors began to notice his distractions. You're softer lately, one of them sneered. You're losing your edge. That night, Ethan snapped at Clara. Maybe you're right. Maybe this, he gestured between them, is making me weak. Her smile faltered. If kindness makes you weak, then I hope you never find strength again. The silence that followed was painful. She left without another word. Days passed. Ethan tried to bury himself in work again, but the office felt colder than ever. The silence was unbearable. One night, he found the small sketch Clara had made of him, half smiling, half shadowed. On the back, she'd written, "You're allowed to be both." He realized then, she hadn't made him weaker. She'd made him whole. He drove to her gallery, but it was closed. He called her, no answer. Finally, he found her in the park, sitting by the fountain where kids were still painting. She didn't look surprised to see him. Just quiet. Back to being a CEO, she asked. He took a deep breath. No. Back to being me. He sat beside her, his voice low. I almost left that night after 5 minutes. She smiled faintly. I know. But your laughter, he looked at her, eyes soft. It made me stay. This time, she laughed again, just as freely, just as beautifully. And it hit him, he didn't just stay that night. He'd never left.